Good morning. Welcome to my live at 11. Today we have the very lovely Lisa from Bluebell Cottage Kitchen, and we're going to be talking about her work. I've just got my notes here. I first met Lisa just before the beginning of lockdown. I saw her Instagram page, and the colours and the photographs were so beautiful and vibrant and colourful that I thought, oh, that looks so delicious. All the cakes and pastries that she'd created and photographed. So Lisa owns the Bluebell Cottage Kitchen, and she creates the most amazing French patisserie style treats. So now let's see if Lisa's going to come on board. She says she's here, so I'll just let her come on board. Let's see. She should be coming up shortly. So if you haven't seen Lisa's page, you must go to her Instagram page, because it's the thing about her work is that it is so beautiful to look at that you actually don't want to eat it, but that's like a double treat, because you get the visual beauty and then they get the beautiful tastes of all the treats that she's created. So Lisa, can you accept the invite I've sent you? That would be good. She should accept the invite shortly. Or even request at the bottom of the screen. If you just request to join, then fingers crossed you'll join. We did a practice run the other day. This is the thing about Instagram. It has a mind of its own sometimes. We did a practice run the other day, and it kept going off on, and finally we managed to make a connection. So if you just request to join, Lisa, fingers crossed it'll work this time. So like I was saying, so if you go to Lisa's Instagram page, which is Bluebell Cottage Kitchen, you'll see the most beautiful designed cakes and pastries. And they are, I've had a number of afternoon teas from Lisa, and they are just amazing. They're most beautiful to look at. And I really wanted to ask Lisa about all her inspiration that she gets from designing the cakes and pastries that she makes. Let me just try again to bring Lisa on. Try again. All right. Fingers crossed it works this time. Oh. Come on, Lisa, we can do it. I'm sure it can work. Oh dear. Oh, it's such a shame. So last week, I told you that we had our Blooms online art show, and that was really, really successful. Had lots of visitors coming to see all the artists that were all around the world. And we won't be doing another show until April of next year, but you can still log on to our Blooms Instagram pages to see the artists' work. We've got our YouTube pages where all the artist show reels are being uploaded, which is the Blooms YouTube page. Oh, there we go. Let's see. See if she's coming on. Oh, fingers crossed it'll work this time. Good morning, Steve. We're just having a bit of trouble getting Lisa to join. There she is.
Hello. I've forgotten my headphones, but hopefully you can see me okay and you can hear me okay.
I can see from your nose down.
Oh,
that's better.
There you go.
Good morning to you.
Morning.
So after my rambling the introduction. I don't know if you heard it. It was getting a bit long. So I'd just like to say good morning to Steve and morning to Stephanie who've joined us. So this is the gorgeous Lisa from Bluebell Kitchen Cottage. Lisa, I wondered if before we talk about your patisserie, if you could just give us a bit of your backstory, because we met February 2020.
Yes.
That's when we first met.
Yeah, so gosh, very long-winded, and I'll try and keep it short, but I when I left school I went to art college, did photography way back when, before digital, and then moved to London and kind of fell into retail and fashion. So worked in retail and fashion for a little while, and worked as an assistant merchandiser for a company called Hermes, MS. So Birkin bags and all of the very expensive stuff. Then in 2020, thought I should probably get a proper job and stop playing with shoes and handbags. Moved back to Reading and fell into marketing, which I've been doing for 20 years. So in large kind of corporate IT companies. And I really loved it because it gave me an opportunity to still be quite creative, but work in kind of, you know, quite a bit more serious environment. Then in 2019, I hit a milestone birthday. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but you can probably guess. And decided that actually I needed a change. And if I didn't do it now, then I'd probably be too old. And I've never been one of these people that thought, you know, I don't want to regret anything. I don't want to sort of look back and go, I wish I'd done that, or I wish I had an opportunity to try that. So gave up my job. And started up Bluebell Cottage Kitchen. So have always absolutely loved baking, and just found that it was my happy place, and I was doing more and more baking, and less focused on work. So thought it was a perfect opportunity to give it a try. And then obviously, I think we all know, COVID hit, wasn't in my business plan, and have just been sort of working through that. It opened up some amazing opportunities. So I've been fortunate and unlucky at the same time. So sort of my background really, but I love the creativity of sort of, you know, baking and everything. So it's kind of going back to my, I suppose, artistic roots really. So that's me.
So where did your love of baking start? Was it in the home with your parents or your grandparents? Where did that originally come from?
Yeah, so my parents are Italian, and so food has always been kind of really important to us, you know, big meals, always cooking, always baking, and always cooking from scratch. So I've always had a real passion for cooking, but particularly baking. So as far as I can remember, I was always kind of trying to make biscuits or making cakes. And so it's always been there. So my sister's also a really, really good cook. It's always been in the family, and we've always been a family of cookers and eaters.
That's just like my family. I've got 3 sisters. My parents are excellent cooks, and we've always, as well, from knee high, been in the kitchen learning. Yeah, it doesn't do well for the weight, but you know, life's short, so we just got to live it. So with your with your fabulous Italian heritage, does that play a big part in how you create the cakes and pastries that you do create? Where do you get that inspiration from?
Yeah, I mean, hugely, because there's lots of flavors and things that you suddenly remember from your childhood that you want to kind of incorporate into sort of a new bake. And then you start thinking, well, what do I do with that? And what do I make, and how can I include it into things? But also I used to travel quite a lot, and I've always absolutely loved Paris. So used to go over there a lot, and have always sort of seemed to have a connection with France and Paris. And so, you know, the patisserie shops in Paris has always been a big inspiration for me, and some of the flavors that they have. But I'm also kind of always looking at going back at traditional flavours that maybe we've forgotten, you know, rhubarb and custard. And, you know, recently I did some lime curd and did sort of chocolate lime macarons from sort of sweets when we were kids. And, you know, if you're that age.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of the flavour starts the inspiration and then the recipe comes later. But definitely kind of, you know, being around sort of all of the different foods that you get in Italy is definitely a big inspiration for me.
Absolutely. Steve says never trust a thin chef.
Thank God you can only see me from the sort of, you know, shoulder up.
God. So you said about thinking back to childhood flavours and things that you remember from childhood, whether it's sweets or whether it's something Nana's created in the kitchen, and you have all those thoughts and feelings going around in your head. How do you actually start to take it from there to designing it and then from it coming out of your kitchen? What's the process and how long does that take?
Oh, so yeah, I mean, it does actually take quite a long time, surprisingly. And there's probably behind the scenes that you don't sort of see all of the little test bakes and different things that I sort of try. So I'll give you an example. You can get these kind of like candied cherries in syrup, and I found a jar of them, and they, you know, I remember having them in Italy, sort of, you know, on ice cream and things like that, on desserts. And it just evoked so many memories. And actually, I was like, as soon as my sister came around, I was like, try these. And she was like, oh my God, that so reminds me of being in Italy. And then I sort of thought, well, how do I combine that with, you know, a nice dessert? So I sort of did choux buns with, you know, some of those strawberries in with kind of a rose flavour, and then a marzipan rose, and just those traditional flavours of sort of cherry and rose and almond. It's very traditional, but I kind of did it in a slightly different way in terms of kind of, you know, using the rose as an inspiration to do a rose, a marzipan rose, and create that out of the marzipan. So it kind of evolves. It's never really kind of like, right, that's what I'm going to do. It's kind of, you know, you try it with sort of some rose creme patisserie and it tastes really nice, and then you kind of go, well, what else can I add it into? And then it's kind of like, well, what do I make out that? Do I make a cake or do I make a choux? And I tend to try lots of test bakes. I do lots and lots of test baking that you'll never see, that will never grace the light of day until I'm absolutely happy with it. So it's almost like an evolution. It starts with a flavour, or, you know, things like the sunflower meringues. It was because, you know, I saw all the sunflowers and thought, oh, well, what can I do with that? And sort of then kind of made some meringues and thought, oh, actually, I could kind of use one of the piping nozzles I've got to make a sunflower. So it's constantly an evolution, but taking inspiration from things that are around me. Even sort of like, you know, I've got some, you know, the cocktail collection macarons was actually from a comment that you made about, you know, can you do a French martini? And I thought, oh, actually, I probably could put that into a macaron. So, you know, I kind of pull inspiration from lots of different places, whether it's nature, whether it's in the kitchen, playing with things, or whether it's sort of from things people say to me. And then that kind of just develops into something.
And Lisa, are you self-taught, or have you gone and sourced some tutoring from different areas?
All self-taught. The only thing that I actually took time to learn was macarons. It's incredibly technical, and I tried a few times at home and just had failed miserably. And, you know, when you kind of, I mean, I can cook, I can bake. So when you keep getting something wrong, you're kind of like, I need to get some help. I need to understand what I'm doing wrong. So luckily, because I did used to travel to Paris quite a lot, on one of the business trips, I sort of said, okay, I'm just going to take a couple of days and do a macaron course.
Wow.
And that's kind of where I kind of learnt some of the techniques that you need to be able to kind of make them perfect. But everything else is pretty much self-taught. Doesn't always go right first time, but I'll just have another go. I'm never scared of trying something new, and I'm never scared of failing either. So it's kind of like, okay, well, that didn't work, I'll just do it again, or I'll do something different. And I kind of learn better that way as well. I'm not very good sat in a classroom being taught.
Mhm.
I'm much better at just trying things and figuring out my own kind of methods and ways and how to do things.
Absolutely. I think the thing is, it is the trying. The failure is not to try.
Yeah.
That's the failure, is not to try. And to try, and you may see it as a failure, but actually it's just getting you to the next step,
Yeah.
to the next level, and building up that experience. I sort of have a similar background, in fact, that where I come with my art is that, I left school, supposed to have gone to art school, got the collywobbles, thought, oh no, I don't think I'm good enough. So I went into nursing. I went in a totally different direction.
Yeah.
And like you, I got to my big birthday and I thought, you know what? The kids have left home. They're all independent now. This is time for me. So then I went back to my art. And I went and got tutorage, on areas where I wasn't sure about, because we're always open to learning, and that's the thing. If you're open to learning, it can only make your work better.
Yeah.
So when you are creating, say for example, you want to do a new flavour to one of your summer cakes.
Yeah.
And you're thinking of all the different flavors that you want to put in. Of that one cake, is there, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different editions before you get to that one cake?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I will constantly be trying something. So I'll keep making, there was an apple cake and I wasn't happy with it. I found a recipe, wasn't really happy with it, but I wanted something that was kind of spicy and warming and kind of wintry, because I try and make my sort of recipes quite seasonal, and I wasn't happy with it. And I kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it and tweaking here and adding something there, and that could do with something else. And I'll keep going until I'm absolutely happy with it. I always sort of say to customers, if I'm not happy with it, you won't see it on the menu. But it's always an evolution. And even when you sort of think you've got it right, quite often I'll sort of tweak something and just try it again, just sort of go, can I make it better? I think I'm always striving for, something that's absolutely delicious and that I'm completely happy with. So it's, I guess those recipes, I'm not a recipe creator, but I guess I'm a recipe developer. I'll always tweak things just to make it kind of nice. If I think it's delicious, then hopefully customers will think it's delicious.
I know that you teach at, I can't remember the name of the cookery school.
Yeah,
I've forgotten.
Arborfield. Yeah. So, and I think this came about, I mean, I'd spent a bit of time sort of building a business case sort of, before I sort of started the business. And then when COVID hit, obviously, I had to pivot everything. I had to change everything. And it was probably the first time, to be honest, that I'd actually sat down and planned. I'm not a very good planner. I've always kind of just waited to sort of see what destiny delivers and take the opportunities as they came along, and had sort of noticed the Cake College was doing a lot of work in terms of building a new purpose-built area sort of to do the classes, and just reached out to the owner, Lucy, and sort of said, any chance you fancy adding macaron classes? And so that came about just from sort of going, well, I'll just give it a go. It's something different. It's not quite what I expected to do, but I'll give it a go. And I love it. I love doing those classes, and I think it's more because working with people who are like-minded, who have a
Yeah.
passion.
Yeah.
And I tend to feed off that quite well. And it's just a lovely environment and lovely thing to do. But never imagined myself as a teacher, but very lucky that the opportunity came along, and yeah, love it.
So are you on their program as a monthly regular visiting tutor, or?
Yeah, I mean it's sometimes bi-monthly. What we started it as monthly. I think lots of people kind of, we fill the classes every time, and then we've taken a little bit of a break and we've started them back up again. And I think now it's bi-monthly, but watch this space. We are bringing in some new classes that I'll be doing, so those will be coming through as well. So yeah, it will probably start being bi-monthly as opposed to monthly, but yeah, it's great.
And so where can people come and get your beautiful, delicious treats? Because they're a treat to the eye and a treat to the taste buds. Because I saw last week you're in Wokingham.
Yeah, so there was a little fair that was organised by somebody who's on Instagram, and it was just in a church hall. I had planned to do a lot more fairs, but during COVID, a lot of them just disappeared and weren't happening. As they're starting back up now, I'm trying to sort of, find a few that I can go to. So yeah, we were in Wokingham doing a fair. There will be more of those coming through. I just need to get my schedule sort of sorted. Otherwise, I am online. I've got a website, www.bluebellcottagekitchen.co.uk. But also anybody can contact me either through Instagram or through Facebook. And I'm always bringing in sort of new menus and new items. So it's constantly changing. So you have to keep coming back to see what I'm doing.
Absolutely. It got to a point where my husband was saying, because like you said, you work very seasonally, and I'll say, oh, Lisa's got a new tea on, and he'll go, Sammy, we can't eat any more until we just get two packed. I'll work out a bit extra,
Yeah.
but they are beautiful. The themes you do for throughout the whole year. I mean, people just really do need to go to your Instagram page. Now I know why your photographs are so beautiful, because you are a photographer.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do any photography for, oh gosh, many years. But actually the opportunity to sort of start Bluebell kind of meant that I kind of could go back to that photography. So it's kind of pulling on lots of different sort of skills that I've kind of built up over the years: merchandising, photography, marketing. So yeah, incredibly fortunate to have the opportunity to do it.
But they're just so beautiful. The way you've created the photograph is just so beautiful, really on spot. It's really, really top notch.
Oh.
So what have you got planned? Because I know we're short of time with you today. So what have you got planned for Bluebell Cottage Kitchen?
Yeah, so at the moment, because I'm working part-time at a marketing agency, Marketing Fusion, so I do that 3 days a week, and I'm running Bluebell Cottage Kitchen the other part of the week. And that's actually working quite well for me because it gives me a little bit of structure, because I think when you're a sole trader and you run your own business, you can kind of lose focus and go off in lots of different directions. But I think more of the same for the time being. I think when I did my plan, I was very focused on my plan. I actually found it really difficult to kind of change, because that's what I was going to do. That's what I planned. And like I sort of mentioned earlier, that's not normally me. Normally I kind of just go with the flow. So I think I'm going to go back to just going with the flow, just because I think there's so many opportunities opening up post-COVID, that I'm kind of open to just exploring what's new, what's coming through. But of course, I'll still be creating in my kitchen and doing sort of lots of different afternoon teas and just creating new things. But I think just for the time being, more of the same, really, just while things are really kind of starting to get back to normal. And then who knows?
Excellent. With all my guests, I just do a very quick fire round.
Okay.
So you just got to answer very quickly, okay? And then I'll let you go because I know you're busy today. Okay. Dark chocolate or white chocolate?
Oh, white chocolate.
Oh, don't know about that one.
Actually,
Creme fraiche.
if I had an extra choice, ruby chocolate. If you haven't tried ruby chocolate, everybody go
Oh,
out and
yeah.
buy some.
That is delicious. Yeah. Creme fraiche or extra thick double cream?
Extra thick double cream.
Oh, we're going to be friends for life, Lisa.
Yeah.
I know this. Italian meringue buttercream or chocolate ganache?
Oh, Italian meringue buttercream with a bit of chocolate ganache.
A summer picnic or a barbecue?
Oh, summer picnic.
Beach or countryside?
Oh, beach.
The last show you watched on Netflix?
Oh, I've just started watching, I think it's called Godless, which is a new series. So just starting to get into that.
Mary Berry or Prue Leith?
Oh, who am I going to upset? Mary Berry.
And your favourite band of all time?
Faithless.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Oh,
I'm sure it was so short. Next time, I wouldn't mind coming and doing it live from your kitchen and being your taster.
Yeah, we can make something together.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining me.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day. Right. You need to turn yourself off, and I'll see you later.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming.
Cheers.
See you later. Bye. Oh my goodness, wasn't Lisa just absolutely gorgeous? I'm going to put all the links to Lisa's Instagram, Facebook and website on after the video, once I've loaded the video up. She is just so full of light and love, and that's what her pastries are. They are just so beautiful. They're as beautiful as her. I don't know what more to say about them. They're delicious to look at. They're delicious to taste, and she's just such a lovely lady. So thank you so much, Lisa, for joining me today. And thank you everyone for watching, whether live now or on catch up. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Steve. Really appreciate that. Do go and look to Lisa's pages when I put them up. She does do deliveries if you're within a certain radius. Luckily, I'm in that radius, and as you can see from these cheeks, I've been having too many deliveries. But thank you all so much, and I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.